In the year 2020, the restaurant industry took a big hit.
The lights are out and the doors locked at the Melting Pot. A sign posted on the front door saying it's voluntarily closing after one of its employees has been potentially exposed to COVID-19 outside of the restaurant. Out of an abundance of caution, they'll be disinfecting and deep cleaning. 4 streets away on 19th, the Zebra Club announced Tuesday it was closing its doors after a customer tested positive for coronavirus.
I'm not too surprised. I've seen quite a few people in front of that place where it's made me not want to stop by there.
Tony Rubino lives in the neighborhood and walks by every day.
There's always a group of people outside, and I can tell there's several people walking inside, and I've never noticed them wearing masks.
While both restaurant and bars in the area are closed again due to coronavirus concerns,
thank you so much.
Another one is just opening its doors for the first time in 3 months.
We got a lot of stuff going on.
Brandon Robinson of Flat Stick Pub says they're taking the safety of their customers and staff very seriously.
We're going to follow the guidelines the state and county has provided us, and we're going to practice extreme safety here. So if anyone comes here that wants to be confrontational and not wear a mask or put a mask on, we're just going to tell them to leave.
That philosophy has patrons like Alyssa Villa of West Sacramento feeling confident that she's in a safe place.
I called them ahead of time and I looked at their guidelines. I was just wondering what their social rules were, because a lot of places you don't know if they're following it or not. So we just kind of tried to prep with the face masks, and we're staying 6 feet away from everybody.
All of the seating is spaced at a safe distance apart. They've installed acrylic splash guards at the cashier and at the kitchen order window.
A lot of tables.
And they've opened a large outdoor section on the patio as well.
The following episode is a conversation between myself and a good friend of mine, Mark Neuhauser. Mark is an alcohol salesman in the Sacramento area and has a close relationship with over 60 of the restaurants and bars. I had been curious recently through the news as to what it might really be like on an emotional level in the restaurant business. So Mark agreed to do a podcast with me at his wife's bottle shop in downtown Sacramento. It is the Good Bottle Shop over off of 11th and L, right next to the Capitol. So go give him your support and enjoy the conversation with Mark as we delve into the mindset of Mark and the restaurant industry.
I'm just a wandering nomad out on the interstate.
Whoa.
Eventually all these roads just end up looking the same.
Relative rules. Easy, cowboy.
It's a good laugh.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a great laugh. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. What's that?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is a good morning.
Yeah, very good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for my croissant, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Aziz from Brasserie Capitale, for making such delicious croissant.
Aziz, thank you so much. I appreciate your hard work.
He's a man.
Yep.
He's a hard worker, too. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're here at your shop, your bottle shop, right?
It was my wife's bottle shop, correct?
Bottle shop. By association, it's...
By association, it is a family, mom and pop business. I am not the pop. The pop is Chris, my wife's partner, and, she's the other half.
Yeah.
And then I'm the other half of her.
So that means basically you don't get too involved with...
I do not.
Okay.
They, just kind of keep business and home life separated the best we can.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Do you find that easier?
No.
No.
I'm an opinionated person here.
Yeah.
So, and I know the business really well, but I got to try to let them do their thing and, be successful and feel the success, because that'll make them more successful.
Is that hard for you to bite your tongue?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't biting my tongue yesterday.
Oh.
We had an hour-long road trip, though, so those are usually, those relative roads.
Yeah, you made the most of it. Well,
we did.
Okay.
And you know what? And there was a very calm conversation. There was no, we got there and we got out of the car and that was it.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Okay, so nobody was offended. You just got your moment. You
No harm,
took
no
advantage of
foul.
it. Good.
Maybe, hopefully,
Something lands.
something.
Yeah.
Know, that's that's all you can really expect.
So is it that like you've seen the business from what aspect? Like, what do you know that they don't quite understand as easily as you might hope?
This business?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, nobody knows any business. I mean, people know that everybody's still drinking, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. In my journey through this industry, before I started my current journey with Beam Centauri, I was working as a distributor, and so I work with a lot of retailers, so I knew what was going on for the most part, but nobody had the niche like this, my wife's shop. So they've done a really rad job of creating something different in the area that you can't really go to a lot of places and go, wow, it's a really nice looking bottle shop.
Yeah, I think
you know that.
Absolutely. No, it's beautiful. I mean, I think it embodies sort of the vintage quality that downtown has. You know what I mean? It's got the showcase in the front of the shop, with such a beautiful job done. It has a very retro effect. All of the detailed work in the design inside the shop you can tell how personal it is to the people who run this place.
Dude.
And
100%. My wife and Chris's vision, into action.
Yeah.
I guess you can call it vision into action. Like they visualize this place, they made it happen, and it's great. We've got a great community surrounding us, and hopefully it becomes, our inner circle becomes wider and wider and wider, and, we'll see where it goes. But it's been really cool, seeing my wife go from stay-at-home mom, all day, every day for 8 years to
8 years
running her, her first business. And, it hasn't been an easy road since December, obviously.
What do you mean by that? Like, what is the most difficult aspect? If you don't mind me asking, like, what has been the most difficult aspect or number of aspects to you?
Here, I think the most difficult part, I mean, they've had a lot of different stuff, and most of it's been dealing with the location of the building, but going from, a brand new spot in the middle of the holiday season. So maybe people didn't know about the business, so they had to like introduce themselves, and one of the busiest times of the years for, alcohol sales and retail business. So they had that to overcome. They did a great job. They had Sober January, they had everybody stop drinking on New Year's Eve and start trying to, New Year's resolution their lives.
Yeah.
I think there's something called like Sober February 2 or something like
Yeah.
that too. So there's like 2 months of people trying to not drink, which is, basically if you're selling alcohol, then
Interesting.
you want to keep those people drinking, but people got to do what they got to do to stay healthy. So that's fine.
Yeah.
And then, just a lot of a lot of construction on the street here and on the corridor in the front. And they basically dealt with, a fence around the front of their building for 3 months.
Yeah, right. I know I've seen it coming by here
Yeah.
thinking, oh, that's got to get right in the way.
Straight into COVID,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no kidding.
then COVID to now, and, being across the street from the Capitol, we've seen a lot of energy down here.
Yeah.
A lot of positive energy, some unfortunate negative energy that happened, after George Floyd and the protests and, the movement that's happened, which has been great. Maybe it's, where the shop was located, but, their business was, unscathed, thankfully. And, they've done some great stuff since to be part of the community and, grab awareness for what's going on and not just ignoring the fact, with what's happening. We're, right across the street from the Capitol here. So as we use the upstairs. So, but that, that's a lot, they've been open since December. It's basically, what's today? The 12th?
13th.
So yesterday would have been 7-8 months that they've been open. So,
Right. So the last
basically
3 have been,
like 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And now, or was it? No, almost 3 quarters.
So let me ask you, when the coronavirus thing came along and, we obviously were shut down and then the protest. Through all of this, I mean, with a new business, I can't imagine what all the work that goes into it is, but like the level of stress of the uncertainty has got to be like through the roof.
Oh yeah.
And I know that it's something that's not easy to talk about, but I like to have that sort of knowledge to, I don't know, enhance the way I treat people and my perspective on people, because if I have some understanding of the pain that they're in, it's easier for me to sort of be there for people. You know what I mean? So that's why I ask you, like, is it constant? Do you lose sleep? Is it like, do you have rage? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, how difficult is it?
Well, let's just put it this way. My wife is clearly the one running this business here, and she has been nothing but positive. They've done a great job of adapting. I feel like a lot of, everybody's had to adapt in a different way. Some people have had to adapt a ton. Some people have had to adapt a little. Yeah. Some people have had to just deal with it, and I think I've seen resilience, and I think I've seen them do a great job of, trying to become something through a time that is just destroying a lot of hope for small businesses. And, in even going into, small businesses getting their windows broken in, it's just property damage, but, it needed to happen for people to like kind of come to their senses and realize that there was something beyond them and their businesses. It sucked that it happened to smaller businesses. It was definitely an eye opener, but, this shit sucks. I talk to people all day long, every day. And basically what it comes down to is, you don't want to like, hey, how's it going now? It's like, how, like, not how's it going? Like, how are you doing? Yeah. Yeah. Basically like, or how are things? Because we know how everybody's doing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing, for the most part, pretty shitty. It's a fucked up situation.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And, it's coming out of this stronger than going into it is a mentality that a lot of people have. And I think that's the resilience of maybe the community or, the human race in general. Yeah. And, it's been a wild ride. I think I used the word weird and roller coaster and wild times and I don't know, and so many different, so many different sentences. So I think positively speaking that there's been a lot of positivity coming out of it. They've been, like I said, trying to make a name for themselves through a really hard time, and they've been able to adapt and, get their online shopping there and, deliveries and, curbside, and giving people a lot more options than just walking into the store and walking out.
It's taking some real ingenuity for these people to navigate this system now. So that's kind of the thing, though, is that these people are resilient. They're very strong-minded in terms of business, and it's because of the nature of alcohol. I think that, as a legalized drug, there's a lot of parameters put in place for people to start a business. I imagine there's a lot of hoops to jump through. But I think I like to admire that most of the business owners and managers that I've run into have been sort of serene and peaceful in the moment. They're all sort of keeping an eye on something, and nobody has seemed to have lost their head. But everybody seems to have that sort of calm, in the midst of a storm attitude. And that was something that kind of lit up in me, is like, these are people. And the culture of the people who are in the business together must be a fairly tight-knit community. And also bartending, servers in these establishments are people. A lot of times, from what I've, come to understand, is that bartenders are a lot like therapists to a lot of people. And
absolutely.
And most of these bartenders that I meet are like some of the nicest customers I deal with all day. They offer me water, they ask me how I'm doing, and they genuinely seem like they want to know. And they're there through the whole conversation. So it made something make sense that hadn't always, which is, why do we have these places? Why do we have alcohol, bars? Why do we have watering holes like this? And I think it is people trying to find themselves, and bartenders tend to be that, that medium in that space.
Sure.
So there's got to be a very difficult coping to go through this and not have that face-to-face interaction. Social distancing must be a huge challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been crazy to talk to a lot of, my friends that are in the community here, bartenders, being on that side, inside the bar for 20 years and being that person to person contact that, that social aspect of the job that allows you to meet people and, you basically are like just creating relationships every day. And I'd say, if you are positively somebody that truly cares about like genuine relationships, then you're gonna find yourself talking to people, and that face-to-face contact's been just kind of taken away. Something that I've really heard that has been great has been that the bartenders that I've talked to through this, this has been a break. Mm-hmm. And this industry never gets a break. Everybody just goes and goes and goes and goes, and they work their heart outs for the person on the other side of the bar. And, I was guilty of it for years. I took care of my customers and my friends who were my customers better than I took care of myself, and it took me getting out of the bar full time to realize that, I was like, I remember I'd go to work, 20 person bar, 15 person bar, and those people were my top priority. And then when I was done working, when I was in my younger days, before my family and everything came, it would be like, how do you cope with dealing with so many people's emotions and so many of these conversations that, ties into their daily lives, that now it's part of your life because you've heard the stories and you're connected to them now. Maybe it's as a regular, maybe it's this regular that becomes a friend, and you're connected to them so well, and you don't know how to cope with all those emotions at the end of the day. What do?
Yeah.
You go to your friend's bar and you drink at your friend's bar and you spend half your tips, drinking at somebody else's place. And I think what I've seen now has been a really cool break that has given bartenders the time to cope without having to, utilize going to a bar after work. They've had time to be with some friends, and maybe there's just their roommates, maybe it's their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whoever, and they don't have a lot of social interaction anymore. But the people I've talked to are living their best lives right now.
Amazing.
It's great. I see people going out and taking pictures and posting them of them like on tops of mountains. And
awesome.
I was at a friend's birthday, on Memorial Day, and I thought I was going to go into this, and I really did think I was going to go in, and that a lot of my friends were going to have sadder stories, and everybody is smiling, having a great time. And I just started thinking to myself, I'm like, how are we here? This is so great. Like, how are all my friends so happy? They don't have a job right now. They're sitting at home. They're not working. Maybe that's, that they need, like, that break was needed for so many people. And then the tides are kind of turned there too, because these are the people that are the servers and the bartenders, but the bar managers and the owners and the general managers of these businesses that have stayed open through this, those guys haven't had a break.
Yeah, good point.
And so they've been working their asses off with just minimal, bare bones skeleton crews.
Yeah.
And at this point, almost 4 months into this, like, they are run ragged, especially with things reopening and then shutting down and then coming back and then shutting down again.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're still standing strong, and they're still resilient, and they're still going to work every day and making it happen and feeding the people that want to be fed from these businesses. And it's been pretty incredible to see, going from like a plate to plate kind of environment to going to like this, like, to-go box. How do we serve food? How do we still serve delicious food that doesn't go bad in the box after they take it from us and get home?
Yeah.
And then they'd bring home this dish that is amazing on a plate in our restaurant, but
Right.
maybe not
The
amazing
experience.
at home.
Yeah.
After you take it in a box.
Yeah, that's a great subject matter to talk or to tap onto. Is that you're right? Like the industry is based a lot on the experience of the establishment, the facility, the service, the people, the decorations, the travel. Like these are locations, designed to entice you. And some of these places, like I can't imagine they'd last, like a high-end steakhouse. Why would anybody go and pay $90 to $100 to take home? You know what I mean? Maybe there's people, I'm sure there are people who would, but when you said that, it's like, oh yeah, man, that's, I can't even comprehend it really.
It's pretty incredible. I mean, basically the way I tap into my universe, my account universe now is in, a little bit of background with my job is I basically work with 64 restaurants and bars across Sacramento and basically downtown, midtown, East Sac, Oak Park. That's my universe. And, I could come downtown and I could walk to 30 different restaurants or bars and in one day if I wanted to, I could go from place to place to place to place. And now I'd say about 2/3 of them are shut down to go only. The ones that have the nice patios are able to serve on the patio with still to go service. And then, it's like, and we're talking about bartenders here, and maybe the bar managers come back to take care of the bar. Or maybe they've brought back a bartender who's now acting as a server and a bartender who's used to being behind a bar and serving people that are in front of them. Now they're having nobody at their bar and they're just making drinks, and then they're going and, they're going out and they're serving these tables. And it's a different environment, and like you're saying, aesthetically, walk into a place, and you're aesthetically pleased, the food comes out and it's amazing. And, and all that's taken away by a to-go
Yes.
box. And so it's been really cool to see the creativity of the places, like, just adapting to the environment and making dishes in a box look awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so like I've seen it all over town, and like there's been some very creative thinking and how do we still feed people awesome food and make them feel like they're getting their money's worth and their value, and, cocktails to go, which is a huge thing, and how do we package our cocktails to go to like adhere with our brand, It's cool to see what people have done to brand their cocktails to go.
Yeah.
It's seen a lot of creative stuff. And it's like you're saying, it's a totally different experience. You're not going out with your friends. Maybe you're bringing it home to your family, and it's a source of food because you're tired of doing dishes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, no doubt we need those outlets. We do. I mean, you after a while, the food at home starts to all kind of taste the same too. We need both options. I need more food, not at home.
Yeah, basically. But one of the things I thought was also a positive was that you're not subjected to alcoholism in other people as often. It must be difficult to face someone who has got a really deep problem with alcohol and is there as a legitimate paying customer, and to watch these people's lives deteriorate. I'm sure you get that too.
Oh, absolutely.
And it must be a huge relief psychologically to step out of that alleyway. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's a dark alley, and then you work at night. So the atmosphere sort of, resembles a very dark and gloomy sort of environment.
Sure.
So I would imagine that gets very vivid for people.
It's, it's funny. We didn't even talk about this beforehand, but I used to work at a dive bar in East Sac, and I made it about 7 or 8 months while I worked there, and it was a good job. I mean, I walked out of there, $300 or $400 a night, easy. Jack and Coke, whiskey, Coke, High Life, shot of tequila, pretty easy stuff. And what really taxed me there was that, what you just said, it's that same crowd. I'm there because I'm here to drink. I'm here to forget about my day. I'm here to just kind of do my thing, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that was the depressing part for me was, it wasn't a lively, it could be a lively environment because I was there till 2 a.m, and there's some nights where it got a little too lively,
Sure.
it got a little crazy in there sometimes. Some fun stories there.
I mean, yeah, please indulge at some point.
For 8 months. I mean, that's a pretty, I don't know. I think that was maybe one of the least amount of times I worked at a place in my career. I've been known to stay places quite some time.
Sure.
So, that was interesting, but yeah, to your point, it's definitely part of it. And I think not dealing with that for 3+ months is really more than likely a very helpful thing. It's been really cool to see my people out there, even if I'm just running into them on the streets, or a small gathering of some sort, even just phone calls, just hearing people's voices and realizing like, hey man, like they're doing really good.
Yeah.
And the thing that hurts me the most about it though, is that who knows when they're going to be able to go back to work and put their and have that energy,
right,
touch other people, So like I think that's a real positive outcome of getting a bunch of bartenders to relax and recuperate from their years of service, standing on their feet all day,
yes,
working for the masses,
yes,
taking in everything when they're, I mean, you don't have a choice of what you're bringing in. Even if it's someone you have to kick out of the bar, you're still taking that energy in. So,
yeah,
it's going to be really fun to come out of this and see, see who's back on their feet behind the bar and to have conversations with them and, about what they've been doing and hearing the stories of how they've social distanced themselves and how they've taken care of themselves and how, man, I'm so proud of a lot of my friends. Like so many of my friends are going to come out of this like in way better like condition than they went in,
Yeah.
Even myself, I'm trying my best to come out. I mean, even though I've been working the whole time,
yeah,
working from home.
yeah. Well, you mentioned social distancing. I think it's funny to think that some of the bar patrons thought they were doing a very good job of social distancing while they were at the bar. They were trying to get away from people.
Sure.
And it's just a funny take on it. But I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if to expect the doom and gloom version of it. I suppose I've heard in most industries there are a number of people having or experiencing great positive life-changing things, and it gives me hope. But yeah, it's just, this whole thing of society, screaming and yelling when it's in pain like this, it makes you look at everybody differently. It's not about judgment, it's about how to really be supportive for everybody.
Sure.
I pick all sides. Let me just say that. I pick all sides because people are people. And just because I don't understand somebody else's, problems doesn't mean they're less value, So I think it's interesting how the bartending career field or the liquor industry, there's a standard sort of sets of trauma that come along with that work. When you choose to be a server in a place serving alcohol, you're going to be subjected to some very vile things. And like the appreciation for, let's say, law enforcement, I think the same thing could be granted to people, that are serving us, people that are working through all of this. A lot of the attention is on the people who are not working, and so be it. Like it is a real pain to deal with. But also, like myself, I've experienced some negative aspects of this working through every day. And it's like, how diligent can your hygiene habits really be when you're in and out of a building several times a day, or in and out of a truck several times? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, we all we reference, good versions or worse versions of life to sort of match ourselves and our situations to it. And it's like, yes, of course it could always be worse, but it could always be better. And I think when you're critical, more often than not, you're growing and you're just seeking information, and it doesn't come off as a high energy, high interactive sort of energy or atmosphere. It's a very, like I said, very sullen. I take that energy from these people, and it really, with the perspective of they deserve more too. It's really given me a new level of respect, because these bars are not about people going and throwing their lives or drinking their lives away. It's not about that. Maybe for some, but every industry could be deemed as the devil for somebody, right? But I now understand, when I didn't for a while, that the business that I'm looking at is as important or as profoundly, in existence as anything else. So I just think maybe there's a number of people like myself who look at it like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if the bar's closed? Like, better, good, no alcoholics. You know what I mean? Such a narrow-minded sort of take on it. And if anyone does, I'd like to enlighten myself and, just share that, because God damn it, they're people, man. And like I said, they're some of the nicest people I've met on a daily basis. And, they have a voice. So I'm really glad to hear the positive aspect.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could talk all day about it, and see how, you took an entire industry, basically the restaurant bar industry, and it was dismantled in, less than 5 days, less than 7 days.
Yeah.
And, the fact that people bounced back and adapted so quickly, and laws were lifted to help, give people another revenue stream, especially with, restaurants and bars that were able to stay open because they were serving food. So, the bars and restaurants that had food available for to-go food were able to sell cocktails to go with the meal. It wasn't.
Is that not typically legal, or?
That was not legal before. Okay. So now we have, the ABC changed the law, for the time being, but a lot of people think it's going to be something that kind of stays forever, and doesn't go back. But basically, you couldn't sell somebody a prepackaged cocktail to go ever at a restaurant. There's some restaurants that had a retail license where you could maybe take a bottle of wine home or take some beer home, but never alcohol. So now that law changed. So you could actually go to your favorite restaurant or bar and buy an entire bottle, And
yes, I think I kind of knew that inadvertently, because I've been delivering a lot more bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could go in, you can get a prepackaged cocktail. You can go in, you can get the ingredients for this cocktail, or a cocktail kit where people are packaging, full bottles with whatever other ingredients.
Pretty cool.
And you take it home and you make it yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Like, these kits aren't made for bartenders. These are made for people that want to go to a bar and drink something good, because they can take it home and have a good cocktail like they would if they were to go to a bar or a restaurant. And so, with the bar thing, reopening and basically having to close back down, it was I think it's a lot of different things that have the involvement there. It's a lot of single people that wanted to get back out. There's a lot of younger people that were stuck at their homes that weren't used to being stuck at home. They're, like, you have your older folks that, maybe are at home alone as well, and everybody's just lonely and they want to get back out and socialize. And that turned into something that was obviously harmful because of maybe the structure of the business, not, you go to a casino these days and you have to wear a mask unless you're smoking or drinking or eating, right?
I didn't know that.
So if you go to a bar, you can't smoke and there's no food. So you're like, okay, well, you got to wear your mask unless you're drinking. And you're like, well, they're at a bar. So that's what they're doing. So nobody's wearing masks. And then, and then you have a few drinks in you and someone walks through the door. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
what's
right.
up?
Yeah, nobody's there to
and then
social
you're like
distance.
just like hugs and high fives and
True.
you know, you're like miss somebody so much, and a couple drinks in, maybe you're not thinking that. So I think that's where it was kind of detrimental for it coming to the point where, you know, we had to shut some bars and bars back down. And then obviously we know like being outside is better than being stuck inside with a lot of people. So keeping the patios open and watching the transformation of some of these places, like getting to like put
instant
tables in the streets and like the city's blocking off, and the city's helping build benches and, you know, tables and chairs for these businesses. And you know, we're kind of, I mean, it's hot as hell now, 105 degrees here in Sacramento, you know, but imagine, you know, this is something that stays, you know, and like, instead of having these indoor spots where like get used to like these more like plaza style, like eateries, you know, where you can go and you can get served outside, which then brings us to that point of that bartender sitting inside by themselves again, you know? So it'll be interesting to see the other side of this. And, you know, I think everybody agrees with that. Obviously, I mean, we all want to know what's on the other side.
We want normal back.
And we're nowhere near it or having any answers. So we could talk all day about that.
Sure.
It's just kind of,
well, what is the general like relationship between the city and law enforcement? It sounds like it's like they're working closely together. So it would seem like they're kind of helping each other out if they're helping build, you know, these extensions into the street, and like, you know, the city has to be a huge part of that.
I know. Yeah. I think like the people that are in charge of certain districts are the ones that are really helping out the businesses, you know, that want help. I think seeing a few blocks shut down to where you have like this plaza like atmosphere, like I was saying, and, you know, perfect example might be like our district over there between like 15th and 14th, you know, turning that whole corridor right there, just shutting that street down isn't going to make traffic any worse or any better for anybody. Probably better.
It's crazy trying to get through there.
There's no parking, you know, as it is. So shutting it down and allowing these businesses to put, you know, chairs and tables outside and have some type of life outside is going to be, you know, really detrimental to how some of these businesses come out on the other side of this thing.
Or survive. Yeah.
Right. So it's because people want to go out.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line is people don't, you know, you have shelter in place for 3 months, you know, who wants to stay home, you know, and it's, you know, it's conditioned.
Well, that's why the bars got crazy.
Right.
People were like, screw this, let's go.
Right. Well, I think once they opened everything got crazy. Luckily we don't have Disneyland opening anytime soon.
Hard to imagine anything like that opening.
Right. But yeah, I think this industry has been, you know, dismangled just crazily, and dismantled is the word I was looking for. Jesus. And, you know, I think we've seen the resilient, like that word resilient so many times too. I feel like that's a big part of like how I talk about the people I work with now, you know, like even the team I work for, you know, it's like, it's incredible to see the ways that we've adapted and done things the way we were doing, and being able to, you know, have people working at home with their kids there and trying to like school them, you know, right at the beginning of this, and still work from home, and to feel like you're getting your job done. And
it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, man.
Well, that would lead me to ask you, Mark, how are you?
How am I?
What have you been up to? What are you doing to keep yourself balanced? Like, how is life going for you?
I talk to a lot of people. So I basically I'm the ear, and I'm okay with, you know, there's been tough conversations out there, obviously. And, you know, when I'm talking to, you know, 64 different owners or 64 different bar managers, times that by 5 or 6 for all the bartenders. And, you know, have gotten to points where I've like remembered somebody I haven't talked to in 3 months now. You know, I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't talked to so-and-so in 3 months. It's crazy. Balancing is, I mean, it's difficult, you know, close my door to balance work from home and could only do that so long before I was tired of those four walls. So
Sure.
now, my kids have understood, they've understood that, when I'm home and I need to work, that they need to give me that space. It was a little bit more difficult for them to learn that in the beginning, but, it's been kind of crazy, like Mondays, Tuesdays, I kind of have the option to get out of the house and check in on people and do things that I need to do that, I can't get done at home. Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I'm home with the kiddos, and my wife comes here and works, through Saturday. So I'm basically home with them Wednesday through Saturday, and then a family day on Sunday, and luckily, with the way things are and, us not having to stay home, we've been able to see some family and some friends and get the kids, out and go swimming or, go to the lake or whatever, get outside. So balance, it's balancing as it is. It's standing on the tightrope and either falling left or right, So I haven't fallen yet. So I guess I'm balancing things pretty good. I've come to, and we were talking about this before we started, but I'm coming to accept things for the way that they are. And I feel like that has taken my stress levels and my anxiety down tremendously from, I think the biggest thing I was worrying about was are my kids going back to school in September? Mm-hmm. And, once I came to that realization, I've accepted the fact that they're not going to go back. So if they do go back, great. If they don't go back, I'm prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
And I think that coming to that realization has been great for balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's kept me from falling off that tightrope. Coming to accept the fact that, I am an ear for a lot of people talking and taking the information that I've been gathering from people instead of turning it, and putting myself in a negative headspace. I've been able to make a positive life of it. Hey, positive light is that I'm having these conversations because people trust to talk to me, which, that's got to make people feel good. When people trust you, you feel good about yourself, So, and that's a genuine character that, I've always had is I care about the people that I surround myself with. And
yeah, totally. Well, we're friends.
Right.
I don't like to be friends with people who don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But one time I had answered a call from a really, really good friend, and I was in the midst of a sort of a breakdown, an anxiety attack. Let's say that. Yeah, it was an anxiety attack. And I was pissed off because I made a mistake at work and I had to double back. And it was a decision that I just felt was so stupid. And I was beating myself up. And my friend called me. And instead of not answering, I answered. And I just dumped on him. And last thing he said was I just wanted to call and check on you, man. I'm glad you're doing all right. I'll call you later. Bye. And I knew he hung up because I was dumping on him. He couldn't take it. He was having his own load of issues to deal with. It's a long story short. I was telling somebody about my anxiety, which then triggered their anxiety. And when he just did that for himself, because he made a decision to hang up the phone instead of take on my shit. It really taught me something. And it was humiliating in the sense that as soon as I heard the click, I was like, oh, fuck. But it woke me up, and I thought that's how important boundaries are. And I love being there for my friends. I love it, just like you do. I can't get enough of it, man. I love people. Watch Mr. Rogers' movie or A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Sure.
Gorgeous film.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous. But, I hear your story and it's like, you know what, Mark, if I ever call you and act and try to just take that time from you, not even asking what you got going on, you have my permission to just slap me in the face and say, yo, Mike, you're shit. I can't take it right now. Good luck, buddy. Bye. And I will never take it the wrong way. It'll hurt. I'm not lying. It'll hurt. It's my Christopher Walken. It hurts. It's really bad.
It was pretty horrible.
It was really fucking bad. I can. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So, man, I commend you for having a big fucking heart and letting people talk. Because I feel the same. People should talk. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what this is about. It's like, I want people to be able to say what they got going on and know, like, this isn't about the equipment. It's not about the business part of it. It's about having a conversation with you for the sake of that, for the sake of sharing space in this amazing existence. Like, we're in the upstairs portion of your wife's business, like in a beautiful setting. I mean, this is like walking around in a gorgeous flower that, you don't have access to all the time. It's gorgeous, man. Sure. You're a beautiful person with a beautiful life, and whatever pains you, I pray that those things subside and you learn to, lasso your inner child. Yeah. Because I know that's what you're working on.
Well, I'll tell you, man, this time, working from home, what is it? WFH, working from home. In this industry and in my line of work, in basically sales, like that's when it comes down to it, that's what my job is. And to actually have had the last 4 months with my kids is an opportunity that I would have never had ever before. And so I've got to take that as like the silver lining of this whole thing and be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to, like I've already accepted, right? I've accepted the fact they're not going back to school. So I know I'm going to be home with my kids a lot more. And, we have these aha moments in our life that bring positivity and we realize like, there's things that obviously, there's things that we want in life. We want a house that we own. We want that house to have a pool. We want that house to like have a yard, and we want that house to have a fence around it with some property and a couple goats. And, I'm basically telling you what, like our family goal is. And, and then, and then you go home and you don't have all those things. And then you go, hey, you know what? But like, look at what you do have. Yeah. And that aha moment has been really cool to like realize like this time that I've had with my kids is something I'll never get back. And who knows, maybe this is like that point in time that, this relationship with my kids grows to a point where, when I'm old and decrepit, they're going to remember this point in time and go, well, my dad was at home working, taking care of us, like, I know I have 2 girls, so I know they're going to take care of me no matter what. But, no doubt. This definitely makes it more of like an eye opener of like, all right, don't look at this time as like, all right, I gotta get up this morning and, I don't have to take a shower and get ready for work because I could take my shower at 2 p.m. and, and just like get through the day at home. And, like it's been a crazy, like roller coaster with like starting it off with, I started this new job in December, and basically in the middle of March, 3.5 months later, the whole industry is turned upside down. And so I go from like being on this new team, learning this new job, not really knowing a ton of it and not really knowing a lot about that business. And then, starting to learn about the business from home and feeling more and more comfortable with it. But, I sell alcohol. So how is knowing your business in alcohol? A lot of times it's drinking the juice and figuring out if how much you like it, or if you like it, or, maybe you don't like it, but you still have to get to know these things. And so in the beginning of this, it was education at 2 p.m. Well, I'm not driving. I'm not going anywhere. So what's the point of me spitting? I've got to learn how, learn about these things. So then 4:30 comes around and Dad's buzzed and, I've got the rest of the night to like keep my head on my shoulders and, luckily like, just like know when to kind of stop and be responsible and make sure dinner's ready and, your kids have had a bath and all this stuff. But then watching that mentality kind of change like through the thing and going, like, all right, we're progressing here. We're not like drinking at 2 PM.
Sure.
Even
yeah.
if it's just, sampling things and stuff. It's not like drinking cocktails or anything. But then like, moving forward 3.5, 4 months later, it's like, it's been pretty cool to see the transition of myself to like realize like, dude, we got to get on a bike ride. We got to get out of the house. We got to do something in the afternoon. Like my kids are not, they're not tired because I haven't worn them out yet. They're staying up till 10 o'clock because they're not tired yet.
I'm guilty. Guilty, dude. He's up later than he should be most days. We're trying to dial it in because of school coming back in August.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I mean, there's so much to talk about with that.
I know.
That subject,
That's a crazy thing. That'd be fun to like get like 4 parents in a room. And
I want to talk to an educator. I want to talk to a teacher. I would love to speak with an elementary school or middle school teacher. It's more relevant to my life now, because of my son. And I want to know, what are the benefits of not having to manage a classroom full of energy balls just bouncing off of everything and disrupting your world constantly and solidifying that your job is truly difficult. Like, what's it like to get a break from that? And what have what have they learned about themselves? Like, what do teachers finally get a break too? That's something we don't think about, is that these women and men who are, I say women first because that's been my son's teachers are women. So don't get that wrong, people. But, I think it's got to be interesting to hear about that transition for them and what their intellect has illuminated for them simply by recovery, like, I just want to know. I want to know so bad. These kids are amazing, man. Like, look, they have the internet. Just stop trying to lie. Stop lying. They know where to find the information. You're either gonna be there for it or you're not. And if they hide shit from you, you're gonna fucking hate yourself. So like, just be honest with them. Be like, yeah, man. Some things. If you want a future that allows you to kind of do things easier, a little less stress, certain information is for these times of your life. So I try to tell them like, be a kid, enjoy your shit. If you need to cuss, just pick one, throw it out there and see what happens. Your timing's everything. So
sure.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty funny you say that because my kids have been watching a lot of The Simpsons lately, and they're 7 and 8. So I don't think The Simpsons was even out yet when I was 7 or 8. So I definitely was not watching The Simpsons, and I'll sit here and sit on the couch and watch it with them and realize like when I was like in my early 20s, I was really lived with some dudes that were really into like watching The Simpsons and laughing and I'll laugh at something and my kids won't even get it. And I just still have to realize like they're so innocent and they're watching this show that has so many like views and they like really basically put everything right out there for you. I mean, the show's been on 30 something years now and it's really funny. And I'm just like, oh my God, man, what are they learning from the show? And then the other day I said shit or something and they're like, Dad, you're using bad words. Yeah. Have I ever not? Well, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You don't need to say it, like, and it's cool to like, they know that there's that difference of it just being a word that you're using and saying because it's bad versus like wanting to say it because it's bad. They're like, don't want to say it because it's bad. So I guess we've done something right there. Yeah,
it's weird. It's kind of weird to see how they conceptualize it because like my kid's the same. He has no interest in cussing. Not like I do. I'm a sailor, and
sure.
And how I'm a truck driver, I guess would be a better way to put it.
You are a truck driver.
I am. Yeah. So that's where I'm in the cab cussing up a storm at everybody trying to cut me off. You know what I mean? Like I'm coping in that cab.
Oh my God, I can only imagine.
Yeah. So I mean that's a bucket of fun itself. These bars and these people. I have my own interaction with this business, but yeah, the kids. I'm glad that they are holding you accountable simply by being there, and you're just changing because you feel like, oh fuck, I'm a dad. I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm a fucking dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta grab it.
You got to do it. Yeah.
Grab the reins.
It's glorious, man. I mean,
ride the pony.
yeah. when you hear the good person come out of them, you're like, okay, yeah.
I know,
You're
dude.
good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's hard. It's not easy. That's for damn sure, but it's worth it, and it's funny. Lately, a lot of my friends, still aren't working, and bartenders that, still don't have jobs, and
Pull this a little closer.
Hit me up at one point in time and hit me up and go, hey, we're going camping tomorrow. Can you go? I'm like, dude, I have 2 kids at home. You're asking me if I can go camping tomorrow? Like, okay. Man, I remember those days. That non-responsibility day, and it takes me back. I'm like, God, man, I remember how it used to be. Just like be spontaneous, pick it up and go. But now what's cool is I could do that with my kids.
Yes.
We could be spontaneous and just get up and go. And even this morning, they're talking about going and hanging out with a friend, my wife's friend, and her daughter, and the kids will get to play. And my little one says, I don't want to leave the house today. I just want to relax today. I was like, the 7-year-old that has that mentality, to want to take a break now, because she spent the entire day in the sun yesterday, swimming and doing things, and today she's tired.
Amazing. And she voiced it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I know.
That's
it's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's
good for you, man.
It's super insane. And I mean,
wow.
And, it's pretty crazy now too. We talk about the shop and my wife and everything, and, my kids are still getting used to her going to work, because she stayed at home for,
right.
She hasn't even been coming,
right.
she hasn't been going to work for a year now. They haven't been open for a year yet. So
you do have a lot going on.
When she gets up to, when it's just me and them, and on a Saturday, and they're like, for years, they were waiting for me to get off work so I could be off on Saturday and Sunday. And now we're waiting for mom to get off work on Saturday so we can hang out with mom on Sunday,
God bless you.
Yeah. It's pretty insane, dude.
God bless you.
It's cool though.
Well, good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you want to tap into?
I don't know, man. What do people want to know?
That's all the shit I want to know. I mean,
who's really, I don't even know how many people I know are going to actually listen to this podcast. So
fair enough.
I will send them and then be like, you want to listen to me and Mike talk for an hour?
You know what, man?
Say what's up.
Honestly, I have this gnawing voice in my head sometimes about, it's like marketing. And it's all it is I hear the commercials that I've been conditioned to think like. You know what I mean? I feel like I have to market myself, but I'm kind of just throwing that away.
Yeah.
Because I'll share. That's what I will do. I will share, but I don't want to go all out trying to market. I really want to just share and highlight the person that I'm talking to because of the value that I've gotten out of this, and that, in whatever capacity, just honor people for allowing me to have a deep conversation with them.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I guess I've done one of these with you once before, and we had Ryan in here with us, and it was great. And I was wondering how the dynamic was going to be, just you and I was like, are we just going to sit here and stare into each other's eyes the whole time? We have. Just so you know, everybody, we just been.
You kind of have to.
We're reading each other's minds right now.
Yes.
We're digging into each other's souls.
Yeah. Body language, reading between the lines. It's fucking intense, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
It's beautiful, right?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else I want to necessarily need to cover. I think it's cool if people get to the end of this and they actually listen to the whole thing. And if anybody gets anything out of it, that's great. I think. You know what I will say? Take care of the people that are working in the restaurants, and maybe not the bars now when they eventually open back up though. Take care of the people, I find myself now, wanting to tip more because they're almost like that. They're frontline worker.
Yep.
They are.
Yes.
These people are, they're not only just working their asses off to feed you and to make awesome drinks that you can bring home, But people have families too, you know, maybe their significant other is struggling. Maybe they're not, maybe everybody's thriving, but like it's the mentality of going to work and, you know, putting the mask on and washing your hands and washing your hands and washing your hands. And then people show up without a mask and you're like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Disrespectful. Come on now, people.
And I've turned around and gone, I've driven 10 minutes from my house and turn around to go home to get my mask because
ooh, I hate myself when I do that.
I don't want to disrespect the people that are there for our good time, to feed our bellies. You know, every one of us, nobody needs to go out and get to-go food. We do it because we want to support the local people that, you know, we want to support them. We want to, you know, we could talk about dishes. But no, I mean, like the amount of dishes that you do at home when you're sheltered in place is ridiculous, especially if you have a family of 4. You're constantly doing dishes and running your dishwasher. But like,
you start running a tight ship, though.
Yeah, you do.
Because you're there.
Right. And the people that are feeding you at these restaurants and bars are helping you get through your day without having to do so many dishes. So show some love. Show a little extra love.
Beautiful.
And when things get back out there, you know, like talk to people and talk to the bartender. When you get to sit with the bartender in front of you again, eventually, talk to them and ask them what they've been doing, because guarantee you they're going to have some fun stories to tell.
Absolutely. And if I may add, honor thy truck driver.
Damn straight, because these guys are all bringing all the things that you need to make the meals and make the drinks.
Yeah, we driving your shit to you before.
Driving. Man,
I love driving.
Man. It's fun when you're driving a nice car. Driving a truck, it's just, I mean, my uncle was a truck driver 50 plus years. You know, it's hearing some of the stories he has is just insane. On the road. I get super crazy when I'm like, one good thing about this whole time has been the lesser amount of traffic leaser. Trying to sell something.
Well, you corrected it. I
did.
I've let go of leaser. Or I did.
I did too.
But lesser, yes.
I'll remember it later.
Subtraction.
Lesser cars on the road, you know. I'm sure that makes some driving a little bit nicer and you don't have to deal with all the traffic, but
it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same, man. I mean, if you're in a hurry, everything's in your way.
Sure.
If you're not in a hurry, nothing's in your way.
That's what I've found, that when I drive now, like even if I'm on like a 65 mile an hour road and I'm going 60 miles an hour, I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think like...
Then you can't mind when the speed demons fly past you. You have to let that go too.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yes. I'm just saying in general, people, you can't have one without the other. You got to appreciate your ability to drive at your safe speed.
Yep.
And these people's ability to... not crash into you.
Right.
Like, good for them.
Yeah.
So
it's
win-win there.
It's an interesting thing to like have come to terms with as well.
Yeah. Well, God bless you, Mark.
God bless you.
I love you, man.
Hell yeah. I love you too, dude. It's always fun.
You're damn right it is.
Well, everyone I ever meet goes here in this book. And now I met you, and you're going in the book.
I'm just a wandering nomad out on the interstate. Eventually, all these roads just end up looking the same. I'm just a wandering nomad out on the interstate.